If one day someone you saved turned around and betrayed you, would you be consumed by anger, or would you choose forgiveness? This question, dear friends, is not only for our times. It was asked thousands of years ago in one of the past lives of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha himself. And today, I will tell you that story. Long ago, by the mighty banks of the sacred Ganges River, there lay a deep green forest. In that peaceful sanctuary where animals lived freely, there dwelled a creature so rare, so radiant, that the entire region spoke of it as a legend. Ruru, the golden deer. But Ruru was no ordinary deer. His fur shimmered golden, bright as the first light of dawn, sparkling through the leaves. Every step he took was as soft as the breeze. But what made the creatures of the forest revere him wasn't the gold on his coat, but the light shining from his heart. In that life, the Buddha chose to take the form of this deer, to practice boundless compassion, making no distinction between friend or foe, expecting no reward. Ruru lived deep within the forest, far from human eyes, for he knew that men, driven by greed, could not resist the lure of gold. Yet every day, this golden deer quietly aided the weaker creatures. When a tiny bird fell from its nest, it was Ruru who bent his back to become the staircase for the mother to bring her chick home. When the rabbits could not find water during the dry season, it was Ruru who led them through secret paths to hidden springs. The animals saw Ruru as their king, but this king gave no commands, built no palaces. He ruled only through kindness. One day the Ganges rose high, its waters wild like a storm. A man from the city of Varanasi slipped and fell into the raging current. He cried out in despair, "Someone save me! I don't want to die like this." His cries reached Ruru's ears as he stood at the forest's edge. Without hesitation, the golden deer leapt out from the trees, ignoring the danger. The river's current was fierce, but Ruru swam as if gliding over waves. At last, he dragged the man safely onto the shore. The man fell to his knees, sobbing, "You are no mere deer. You are a divine being who has saved my life. I swear I will never forget this debt." But Ruru simply spoke gently. "Keep your word. And please, never reveal to anyone that a golden deer lives in this forest. If men hear of me, they won't come to admire. They will come to kill me for my coat." The man swore fervently, "I swear on my life, I will guard this secret until my last breath." But humans are easily blinded by greed. A few weeks later, in the palace of the king of Varanasi, the queen dreamed of a golden deer. In her dream, the deer taught her about compassion, about the beauty of selfless sacrifice. When she awoke, she demanded that the king find this golden deer from her vision. "Whoever captures this deer, I will reward with gold, honor, and even grant them a village," the king declared. When the man who had been saved heard this, desire flared within him. His vow of gratitude quickly faded in the face of promised riches and fame. He knelt before the king and said, "Your Majesty, I know where the deer lives. Give me soldiers and weapons, and I will lead you to it." And so, an armed hunting party was sent into the forest. Arrows, spears, traps, all prepared to hunt what they saw only as a prize to exchange for glory. Meanwhile, Ruru, the golden deer who had once saved a life, now faced mortal danger because of his very act of kindness. That morning, before the sunlight could pierce through the thin mist of the Ganges forest, hunting parties crept in quietly, bows and spears in hand. At their head was the very man whom Ruru had once saved from drowning. A sly smile curled on his lips, and in his mind danced dreams of gold, power, and status. "Once I capture this deer, my life will change forever." But with every step he took, he trampled upon the vow he had once sworn. Deep in the forest, Ruru stood upon a small mound, his calm eyes watching flocks of birds suddenly take flight, a sign of looming danger. With the intuition of an awakened being, Ruru understood the threat was drawing near. The animals whispered fearfully among themselves, "The humans are coming, and this time they won't just pass through, they've come to kill." A little squirrel, trembling, asked, "Great King Ruru, will you flee? If you die, who will protect us?" Ruru softly replied, "If I run, who will teach humans the lesson of compassion? If I hide, they will only go on hunting and killing others. I would rather face them. Better that I stand firm than let violence spread unchecked." And then, the thunder of hooves echoed through the woods. The hunters had surrounded the clearing where Ruru often appeared. Arrows rained down like a storm. But strangely, the forest winds rose, turning the arrows off course. The golden coat of the deer blazed like sunlight in the heart of the jungle. The soldiers stood frozen. For the first time, they sensed this was no ordinary creature. The light before them shone not just outwardly, but pierced deep into their own hearts. At that moment, the king of Varanasi himself arrived, led by the very man Ruru had once saved. The king pointed and declared, "That's it. The golden deer from my queen's dream. Capture it alive and bring it to my palace." The man bowed low and said, "Your Majesty, I have found it. Please grant me the reward you promised." Then Ruru, with a voice deep and clear like a temple bell, spoke. "You, the one I saved from death, the one to whom I gave life. For a handful of gold and silver you betray your vow, you sell out your very soul. Hear me, O kings and men of greed, I do not flee, I do not fight back. But know this, if you kill me just for the shine of my coat, you also kill the compassion within your own hearts." His words echoed through the forest, silencing the beasts and the soldiers alike. The king of Varanasi felt his chest tighten, his sword hand trembled. And then, the king, the very man who had ordered this hunt, fell to his knees before Ruru. "Great one, now I understand. It is our blind ambition that has led us astray. I swear now to spare your life and to protect this forest forever." The traitorous man, hearing this, collapsed in tears. "Forgive me. I was blinded by greed. O you whom I once betrayed, grant me a chance to make amends." Ruru gazed at him, not with anger, but with the stillness of a tranquil lake. "I forgave you, the moment you betrayed me, for I saved your life not in hope of reward, but to plant the seed of compassion." In that instant, the whole forest seemed to glow. The wind stilled, birds sang in unison, soldiers dropped their weapons and wept. The king then issued a royal decree. "From this day forth, this forest shall be a sacred sanctuary. No man shall harm it, and the golden deer, he shall be honored as a holy sage of our land." From that day on, the forest by the Ganges became a sacred place. King Varanasi would often come here, not to hunt, but to sit quietly beneath the trees, to listen to the whispers of the stream, and to watch Ruru and the animals living peacefully in nature. The people spread the story from village to village. There is a golden deer, but its light shines not only from its coat, but from its heart. Whoever sees it feels their own heart fall still. But as always, not everyone was pleased. Within the royal court, there were those fueled by envy and resentment. They whispered to the king, "Your Majesty, if you honor beasts above men, you will stir unrest among your nobles. Why not capture the golden deer and bring it to the palace? Keep it as the nation's treasure." The human heart, like a river, flows, sometimes clear, sometimes muddy. And so, despite his oath, the king wavered once again. He quietly ordered his men to prepare a force, this time with the intent not to ask, but to seize Ruru once and for all. In the forest, Ruru, of course, knew what was coming, but this time there was no anger, no blame. Ruru gathered all the animals and birds and said, "If today I fall, you must continue to live by the spirit I have sown. No hatred, no revenge. Hold firmly to compassion, for compassion alone is what never dies." The sunlight broke through the leaves, shining upon Ruru's golden coat, and the animals wept openly. The day the soldiers entered the forest became a day like no other. Instead of fleeing, Ruru stepped calmly onto the main path where the king and his army advanced. He knelt down, bowed his head, and spoke. "If your majesty wishes for my body as a treasure, take it. But I beg you, spare this forest, this refuge for countless innocent lives." The king stood frozen. He looked at Ruru, a creature that could have fled but chose instead to offer itself. In that moment, something in the king's heart shattered open. He let his sword fall to the ground and burst into tears in front of all. "I have been blind. It is your sacrifice that has awakened me. From this day on, no one shall ever violate this sanctuary again." The entire army dropped to their knees and bowed before the golden deer. In the years that followed, the forest was renamed the Great Compassion Grove, where the king built a stone pillar inscribed, "Here once lived a being who taught me life's greatest lesson. True leadership is to sacrifice for others, not to seize for oneself." The man who had once betrayed Ruru also chose to stay behind, dedicating his days to tending the forest, as if to atone for the sins of the past. The tale of Ruru spread far beyond the borders of Varanasi, becoming a model lesson in kingdoms, schools, and homes. If you wish to grow into true adulthood, they would say, first learn from the deer, to yield, to endure suffering yourself so that others may know peace. And Ruru, in that life, he was none other than one of the past incarnations of Gautama Buddha, the great enlightened one, who vowed across countless lifetimes to plant seeds of compassion and sacrifice in this world. And the lesson for you and me today? Whether you are a leader of many, or simply navigating your own life, remember this. True leadership is not about might, but about the courage to sacrifice for others. Power does not lie in swords and weapons, but in a heart that stays open. If you feel the light from this story, help spread it further. Click subscribe to the Stay Inspired 86 channel so I can continue bringing you more Jataka tales, deeper, richer, and touching straight to the heart. Together, let's bring ancient wisdom to modern hearts. Click subscribe, and let's continue this journey together.